Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad you guys are back here. I'm glad you're having fun with the EcoRangers Club. I think it's I think it's very important that you guys start really paying attention to how wonderful nature is, and I hope you'll take that with you for the rest of your life, okay? Now, if anybody has any questions today, don't forget Ms. Shauna is moderating, so you can raise your hand, you can send a chat message, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question, all right? So last week we had a challenge, and my challenge was, what mammal is the state mammal? Who knows?
Matthew.
Matthew? Matthew?
What do you think, buddy?
Is it the?
Don't raise your hand if you don't have a guess.
Do you not know? Did nobody look that up? You guys want me to tell you?
I know what it is.
What? What is it?
Gray squirrel.
Yes, very good, very good. I hope you guys saw a lot of them. I know you have to be seeing a lot of them because they're out there like crazy right now, gathering walnuts. I know I got a bunch in my yard. They keep putting walnuts in my chairs on my porch. So I know you guys are seeing a lot of gray squirrels now because they're gathering up food for the winter. All right, and when you see those and you count those, don't forget to put them on the iNaturalist site. They need all that data, guys. And also, put them in your nature journals. It'll be really interesting. Let's say you counted 20 gray squirrels last week. Next year this time, you could go out and see how many squirrels you have, and your population might have gone up or gone down, and then you could try to figure out, become a scientist yourself and figure out, well, why did that happen? So that's why you want to keep all this data. All right, so today we are talking about prey mammals of Western North Carolina. Okay, and just to tell you guys what these are, this little guy right here, we all know who this is. That's the eastern cottontail. This is the gray squirrel. This is the American red squirrel. This little guy here is the hairy-tailed mole. And this cutie down here is a hispid cotton rat. Okay, so we're not going to talk about every single prey mammal here because we'd be talking for about 5 hours, but we're going to go over a few of these guys. All right, so first question. What do all these mammals on your screen have in common besides being prey mammals? Anybody know?
They're cute.
Well, that's a good one. Nobody know? Okay, it's kind of a hard question. These are all rodents. Okay, and just to let you know what these guys are, change the sheet. This one is a capybara. You'll find these guys in Australia. They're pretty big too. This guy right here, he's kind of cute. He's called a spring hare, and you'll find them in Africa. This one is a golden mantled ground squirrel. You'll find those out west in western United States. Look at his tiny ears and his little tiny tail. This guy over here, everybody, who knows what that is?
Groundhog.
No. Look at his feet and his tail.
Hang on, we got a chat. Let's beaver.
Beaver, very good. That is the North American beaver. And then this guy right here, that's just your old little house mouse. Okay. What's the definition of prey? Anybody know?
E-R-E-Y.
Yes, P-R-E-Y, yes. Anybody know?
I do.
Go ahead.
A prey is an animal that is hunted for food.
Very good, very good. Okay, so the flip-flop of that, what's a predator?
An animal that hunts.
Awesome. Oh, you guys are awesome, man. So yeah, so right here you have both prey and predator animals in the same picture. We got a fox over here, got a beautiful barn owl, and we've got our bobcat. Okay. Are rodents the only mammals or animals that would be prey? What other kind of animal would be a prey animal?
There's a lot more than just rodents that could be prey. Bigger mammals like deer, elk, moose, caribou.
Yeah. Very good. What about smaller animals?
Prey is prey. Animals of prey have eyes on the sides of their head, and predators have eyes on the front of their head.
They do. What other kind of animals though? Some of them fly, don't they? Can birds be prey?
Bats.
Bats. Bats can be prey. They sure can. Anything that's going to eat something that can't get away pretty much is a prey animal. All right. So the first guy we're going to talk about here is the eastern cottontail. You guys have these all over your yard. I know you do. They're a native species to North Carolina, so they weren't introduced. They're right at home here. They like to live near humans because we have those wonderful yards that have great habitat. And what makes up their habitat would be like woody cover, a big pile of brush, some really tall grass. And these guys are lazy too. You see how shallow this nest is? It's just kind of really barely above the surface of the dirt. Well, what these guys will do is if like you have a big old fat groundhog in your yard that's digging lots of tunnels, these guys will move right in because they don't have to dig anything. And that's a great place for them to hide and to have their babies, okay? So they have brown upper parts. You can see that right here on this picture. And then they have, of course, the cottontail. They've got that little puffy tail. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but the males are called bucks and the females are called does, just like deer. Okay. All right, they are herbivores. What do herbivores eat?
I do.
What?
They eat plants.
Very good. They eat plants. These guys like to eat grasses, beans, flowers. You'll see them munching on anything in your yard in the summer and the spring and into the fall. What do herbivores eat in the winter time?
For squirrels, they will eat the nuts that they've gathered. Some small mammals like rabbits hibernate.
These guys will come out. These guys will come out in the wintertime to get food. So what do you think these guys would eat in the wintertime? And I know it's kind of hard, isn't it? Because there isn't a lot out there and you don't see rabbits eating nuts. What they'll do is they'll strip the bark off of trees. And they'll eat that, or they'll eat very small twigs just to get them through the winter. Because like you said, they do go into a slight hibernation. So they don't need that much energy, but they still do need to eat something while they're in there. Okay, they're active in the early morning, late afternoon, at night. They are crepuscular. Okay, why don't they want to go out during the day?
They could easily get hunted by hawks.
Yeah, any predator would find them during the day, wouldn't they? Okay, now these guys do have a little bit of a defense. They can camouflage themselves in dense covering. And I'm sure if you've seen a rabbit dash into a big tall pile of grass or leaves or something, you can't see it. Right, exactly. And that's the other thing. They're very fast. Okay, so they've got that going for them. I mean, look at this guy right here running, popping, whatever.
That looks like a deer without antlers.
It does, doesn't it? Well, and that's probably a buck. So there you go.
When they're running, it's a blink and you'll miss it situation.
Right, exactly. They're really fast. Now, let me just give you one other tip about rabbits too. In the springtime, let's go back. In the springtime, you're going to find these nests probably in your yard. And remember what I said? They're lazy. If the nests are out in the yard, they're going to be pretty shallow and pretty close to the surface. So you want to be careful in the springtime, the first time you go outside to mow your grass or maybe do any kind of yard work. My husband and I do a bunny check around the yard. And we'll go all around the yard, make sure there aren't any little holes or anything. The second thing, if you find a nest like this and Mama Rabbit doesn't appear to be around, she is. You just can't see her. Mama Rabbit leaves in the early morning to go out and get food for herself. So she'll leave the babies behind. If you find a nest like that, don't bother it. Leave them alone. Oh, we've got a question.
See if Trevor has a question.
Trevor, do you have a question? No?
This is Trevor's mom. Hi. I just wanted to say when I was a kid, I actually found a nest and I did take them. I watched for the mom and I didn't see her, but I probably didn't wait long enough. And then they did end up all dying, unfortunately. So it's really important to not mess with them.
Exactly. They're very fragile and they're very delicate. I mean, you could do that and unfortunately their necks would snap. Also, when they get very scared, their hearts will beat and they will have a little bunny heart attack. They'll die. So just leave them where they are. Mom will come back, I swear. If you see them there for a couple days and mom doesn't come back, there's probably not much you can do for them anyways. But the great thing about rabbits, there are a ton of them around here. We have lots and lots of rabbits, okay?
They are so it basically, so to put it in a summary, they faint too easily.
Yes, you guys have heard of fainting goats? They're kind of like that. All right, so let's move on to the eastern gray squirrel, our state mammal, okay? Most common squirrel species in North Carolina, we all have these guys running all over the place, okay? They're typically grayish brown, their belly is white, you can see on this first slide right here, and they have that big bushy tail that they like to flick around a lot, you know? They like to live in cavities in trees. And this right here, I know you're seeing them now because a lot of the leaves are coming off the trees. This is called a drey, D-R-E-Y. And this is a squirrel nest. So when you see these up in the trees, and they do reuse them too if the wind doesn't blow all the leaves out. But there's lots of twigs in there and leaves, and they kind of make a little basket that just holds them in there. So that's a really nice place to live. They weigh about 10 to 11 ounces, and they're about 15 to 20 inches long. So yeah, about that big.
Does that include their tail?
With the tail, yeah. If that didn't include their tail,
right?
That'd be a very big squirrel, and I'd be afraid.
Me too.
Okay. So we talked about their habitat. All right, so they're also herbivores. Interesting that a lot of these prey animals can be herbivores. However, what's this guy doing? He's eating a bird's egg. Herbivores wouldn't eat eggs, right? They will occasionally eat insects, bird eggs, and even small birds if they can catch them and if they're hungry enough. But mostly they're kind of lazy. They're going to eat nuts, acorns, seeds, fruits, mushrooms, all that good stuff that they really, really like. Okay. They are a diurnal animal. What's a diurnal animal?
It means they're active during the day.
Very good. And an easy way to remember that, guys, diurnal begins with a D, so does day. Nocturnal begins with an N, so does night. So very simple. They have a very cool defense against predators. Okay, of course, they're going to run away and hide in a tree cavity. That'll be the first thing. They also make kind of little warning bark sounds to other squirrels to let them know there could be a hawk flying around. But the coolest thing about these mammals, or the squirrel, they can go face first down a tree because their claws help them to hang on. They can, if there's an animal here, let's say a cat's bothering it, it can let go with its front claws and reach out to whatever's bothering it and bite and scratch it. So they're not totally defenseless. But once again, there's tons of squirrels around and predators gotta eat food, so yeah. Okay, now, one of our more interesting mammals around here, we have 3 types of moles in western North Carolina. This little guy down here with these big old, look at those claws, good for digging. This little guy over here is called an eastern mole. The guy in the middle, and you can see why, is called a hairy-tailed mole. And this is my favorite because he's so strange looking. This guy is called a star-nosed mole. But what I really want you guys to notice is look at the claws on them. They're perfect animals for digging, and boy, do they dig. Okay? Most of them have hairless pointed snouts except for the star-nosed mole. But you can see it right here in this middle picture, his little nose. They don't have any ears. They come in a range of colors. Now, it's a myth that moles are completely blind. They're not completely blind. They are colorblind, and they have a very difficult time seeing properly, but they still can see a little bit. They're about 4 to 7 inches long. So let's see how long that is on our tape measure. So the longest they can be, it's about that big, and that includes the tail. But I've seen more about that size. They're tiny, okay? They are not rodents. Moles are not rodents. They belong to a family called Talpidae. They're a special type of mammal, but they're not rodents. They don't fall under that category. Their habitat, they like grasslands, urban areas, gardens, mixed woodlands. They like anywhere where they can dig tunnels.
I like my yard.
And they love to dig tunnels. And if you look at this picture over here, you can see this is a mole's nest, all right? And they have it separated into chambers. One chamber is a living room. They'll have a chamber down here just for the babies. They'll have another chamber for food storage. They even have a bathroom in here. So moles are pretty neat. But look at how intricate that is, okay? They can dig tunnels 18 feet in an hour. Let's see how long 18 feet is. Okay, now remember, this guy's only about this long, okay? So 18 feet, they can dig that far in 1 hour. That's pretty far for a
18
little.
feet or 18
Or 18 feet, I'm sorry, I'm doing inches. Let's do feet.
You won't have.
I know, I won't have it. So let's, okay, so 18 feet. These guys can move a lot, all right? And they can travel 80 feet per minute. What? So they're pretty fast. I don't know, has anybody ever seen a mole in their yard?
I have. I was in our tree in the yard maybe a few years ago. I saw something moving under our layer of mulch by the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, bumping up and down, and then out of the middle of nowhere, a mole, I couldn't tell which one, it came popping right out from under there.
Yeah.
And it was running along the yard. It tripped over itself and did a somersault and kept on running, then disappeared down a hole, like, within 3 seconds.
Yeah, because it saw you and went, ah! But yeah, they're pretty fast. I've been digging in my yard and I've seen something, same thing, out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, what is that? And then all of a sudden it will just dash across. So yeah.
He probably didn't see me. I just think he was moving fast to avoid hawks. We have
Perfect. That's, yep, great observation. Great observation. All right. Okay. These guys eat earthworms. They love earthworms. Okay. They can eat their body weight. Well, they have to, because their metabolism, the energy in their body, their metabolism is so high, they have to eat their body weight in worms every single day. So basically what these guys do all day is look for worms. Think about it. If you weigh 100 pounds, you would have to eat 100 pounds of worms a day. That's a lot of worms, isn't it? Let's go back one. This chamber right here, in one of these mole nests, they found 470 worms in one nest, dead. But yeah, these guys are voracious worm eaters. Now, you'll hear a lot of people that get really upset because, the moles are ruining my flowers or ruining my vegetables. They're not going after the flowers or vegetables. They're going after the worms that are around the flowers and vegetables. And when they're digging for the worms, that's what makes the roots and everything get disturbed. So they're not really going after your plants, but they do it kind of in a roundabout way, looking for those worms.
They're going after the worms that are trying to help your garden.
Right, exactly.
They're messing up the balance. The worms are helping the plants, and the plants are helping the worms. Then the mole comes along and eats the worms, so the plants don't get help. And
well, yeah, I mean, they're not gonna totally decimate your yard of worms, because you got a lot of worms in your yard, I hope. Yeah. But yeah, what kind of defense do you think these guys have against predators? Any idea?
Dig.
What did you say?
I bet moles go by the motto, when in doubt, they dig.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Yes, they do. They stay in their tunnels most of the time. If you see one like you did, it's very rare. They'll kind of jump out and jump back in. They do dig, and their tunnels, they emit this really musky, funky smell. So predators don't want to go near anything that smells bad, because let me ask you that. If something gives off an odor, what is that telling the predator?
That that means that there's food somewhere.
Sorta. That's a
It
good
smells
guess.
really bad.
Would you eat something that smelled really bad?
No.
Right. That's why they do it. They're hoping the predator is going to go, ugh, I don't want to eat that, and go somewhere else. So that's why they do that.
I think the moles are really so cute that I want to pet them.
Aren't they cute? They are cute. And I mean, these guys, look at these guys. The star-nosed moles, they're kind of alien looking. But these little guys are cute, I think. All right. Now we're going to talk about rats and mice. Okay? Just to let you guys know what all of these are. All these guys are native to Western North Carolina. This guy up here in the corner is a hispid cotton rat. This little guy down here with the white feet is an eastern wood rat, and this guy here is an Allegheny wood rat. They all look like rats, I know. This guy here is a white-footed mouse, hence his feet. This guy over here, what do you think he does with those big old feet? What does he look like, kind of in miniature? Look at his legs.
Kangaroo
And that
rat.
long tail. Doesn't he kind of look like a little kangaroo? He's a woodland jumping mouse. He jumps. Okay, and this guy right here is a North American deer mouse. But we're going to talk about rats right now. Okay, rats have slender pointed heads, and you can see that in this picture. It kind of comes to a taper. They've got really big eyes. Oh, and I wanted to point out, Matthew, this is a prey animal, but look where his eyes are. So it's not all prey animals. Not all prey animals have them on the sides. Most prey animals that have them on the sides are hooved, like deer, moose, elk, cows, stuff like that. Yeah, fish.
And
Okay.
they
Yeah.
use that ability of their eyes on the side of their head to look out for predators better.
Right, their peripheral vision. But these guys don't have that. These guys don't have that. These guys have eyes in front of their head, just like we do. They have very little fur on their ears. They have moderate long legs, and they have very sharp little claws. Okay? Now, their bodies are longer than 5 inches. So I'm gonna go this way, 5 inches. That's about as long as you're gonna be, about as big a rat as you're gonna find here. Add the tail, maybe about that big. But if you went to Indonesia, for all of you rat phobes, they have a rat there that's this big that doesn't include the tail.
That's a dog.
That's a pretty big rat. I don't think I like that too much. Okay, so what about their habitat? Where do we think they live? Anybody know? Anybody have a guess? Take a guess, guys. Come on. You're not going to say anything wrong, I swear. Look where they're living here. Where are they here in these pictures?
Oh. Now they're unmuting.
Oh, okay.
Under a rock.
Under rocks.
Under a rock, yeah, he's in a rocky crevice. Yeah, he wouldn't exactly be under a rock in your yard, but if you have any outcroppings or anything, they would live in there, definitely.
A barn.
Barn, this guy's living in a barn. I'm sure if any of you have barns, you're gonna have rats out there, unless you have a good barn cat. And these guys are living out in the fields, okay? So they do dig burrows, not very deep, but they do. But they nest in caves, rotting tree trunks. They'll go in between boulders. If you go into the forest and you see some really deep matter on the ground, they could be in there too. So they like all kinds of areas, and they're all over the place. They're mostly nocturnal. Good reason for that. They're omnivorous. What do omnivorous animals eat? Anybody know? Trevor?
Oh, no.
Nope. Okay, omnivorous animals eat everything, all right? And these guys will eat everything. They eat fish, insects, birds, amphibians. Amphibians, what's an amphibian?
Matthew?
Matthew?
Something that an amphibian is something that likes to live either in the water or out of the water. And
Give me an example of an amphibian.
a frog.
Very good. We're going to talk about those sometime later on next month. So yeah, so they'll eat amphibians. They'll even eat baby rabbits. Okay. Grains. That's why they like going in those barns, because you got all that hay and wheat and everything in there. And they'll also eat bird eggs too. So rats like to eat a lot. And if you get one in your house, they'll try to eat your food as well. They'll also have been known to eat pigeons. Pigeons and pheasants.
Wings.
How do they what?
I thought pigeons only had wings.
Well, pigeons have wings, but you'll see pigeons on the ground all the time. They don't fly all the time, do they? No. So if there's a pigeon on the ground and there's a rat nearby, you'll grab it. So yeah, rats will eat pigeons. They'll even eat pheasants, which are bigger birds. What's their defense against a predator, guys? What would they do to get away from a predator?
At first they'd probably try to make themselves look bigger, hiss at them.
That's a good, I like that. I can see them doing that. I can see that. They mostly like to run away. They're going to run as fast as they can. Now, they will try to bite and claw because they do have very sharp claws, especially if the predator grabs them. But their first thing is, I just want to get out of there. Get me away from that big old bird. All right, guys. So now we're going to talk about mice. Okay, mice are small. You know they're all small. They have very tiny bodies. They have a blunt tapered muzzle. And the muzzle is this part right here, the end of his nose. And they all come to a point. You can see that on all these pictures, okay? They have very thick fur for the size, and they have big ears and very sharp claws, kind of like the rats, but smaller. Approximately 5 inches long, so they can get to be about this big with the tail. And they don't weigh a lot. They only weigh about 0.6 of an ounce, okay? Where do these guys live? Anybody know?
Rainforest?
There could be mice in the rainforest, but what's their habitat? Where do they like to make a home? What do they use? The ground. Very good, very good. Have you ever seen any of these in your house?
No.
I have.
We've seen a snake in our house.
Okay, well, maybe he ate all those mice. They can live in the ground under rotting trees.
Mice are much cuter than rats.
Yes,
I can tell you that.
they are. They can live in they can live in the ground. They'll also live in rotting tree trunks, rock crevices. Basically the same place you'll find a rat, you can find a mouse, okay? They're primarily nocturnal, meaning they come out at night. Some will come out and forage during the day, but when they do, they're super duper careful about it, okay? Why would they be careful during the day? Anybody know? Come on, this is an easy question.
Something's gonna eat them.
They'd be careful during the day because something's going to eat them. Something's looking for them. I mean, think about how a hawk can see. If he sees a little bitty mouse down there, he can snatch him up real quick. So they're real careful during the day. You'll mostly see them at night, though. They're omnivorous. What did I say omnivorous was?
Eat everything.
Eat everything. Exactly. They like seeds, insects, larvae, and various plant parts. So yeah, they like that. What is their defense? Anybody know? Think about what we just talked about with the rat. Matthew?
I think their defense is they're really good. How fast they can run, and how high they can jump, and how sharp their claws are.
Very good. You just said it all. Exactly. They want to get away. Okay. They really can't fight any predator that's going to come after them because they're so tiny. So yeah, they just want to get away. So they're going to run and scratch and bite and try to go as fast as they can. And just to tell you what kind of,
Would they do that to my teddy bear?
if your teddy bear was trying to eat them. Let me just tell you what animals these are too, guys. This one down here, the little ones in the nest here sleeping, that's a deer mouse, okay? This one right here is a woodland jumping mouse. This one is too, those are the little babies. And look how many this guy can fit in his hand. So you can see how small they are. And this guy down here is another white-footed mouse. Those are easy to identify because of the white feet, okay? All right. Here's a whole list of books that I found that you can get on prey mammals. Definitely, oh, I'm sorry, we have a question. Trevor, you got a question?
I just want to say that it looked like the mice were shaking hands.
Which, these are the they did.
That's so cute.
They do. I like
They're
that.
talking to each other.
Yeah, maybe they're talking about some predator that's outside that tree and how can we get away? That's cute. Here's the books, guys. If anybody wants to read up on more of these animals, I highly recommend getting some mammal ID books if you're going to go outside and take a look, because yeah, I can look at something and go, yeah, that's a squirrel, but it's really good to know what kind of squirrel. And you can impress your friends when you're out hiking. They can say, oh, look at that squirrel. And you can say, well, that's an eastern gray squirrel. See? So try to get your IDs down. And remember, you see any of these animals, put them in your nature journal. Okay? So next week's challenge, and I really want you guys to go out and try to do this. Okay? I want to see who can locate the most drays. What did I say a dray was?
Tough question.
Think about the squirrels. Nobody remember? Let me show you. We'll go back. Oh, there he is. What's that?
Eastern gray squirrel.
That's no. We're
Well,
going to try to
that's-
locate
that is-
drays.
But that's where they
Yeah, that's where they live. What I want you guys to do next week is go outside, because you'll be able to see a ton of these. I can see some right outside the library window right now. See how many of these you can find and count them, okay? Because you will be able to see these. So that's your challenge for next week. And don't let me down. I want y'all to give me some good numbers of those drays that you found, okay? Don't forget to log into iNaturalist. And if you find one of these drays, how about drawing it in your nature journal? And then labeling it dray, and dray is spelled D-R-E-Y, okay? Draw one, label it, then you'll know what it's called. And once again, you can impress your friends when you're out walking around, because hey, see that? That's a squirrel nest, it's called a dray. You'll impress them. All right, guys, that's all we have for this week. I want to thank you for coming by, and we will see you a week from next Friday. Shoot, I don't remember what I'm talking about. Well, go online, it'll tell you what I'm talking about. But we'll see you guys a week from next Friday. Does anybody have any other questions before we go? No? Okay. Thank you so much for stopping in. You guys really make my day when I do this, and I love talking to people who are so enthusiastic about animals around here. So you all have a good weekend. Use your nature journals, get out there and count those drays, and I will see you soon.